podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.
Hi, folks, and welcome to another week here on Ring Around The Rosie. I am your host, Kim Brown, a.k.a. Platinum Rose Lady, a.k.a. the twit with the microphone that keeps rattling on about wrestling. Hope everybody's week has been pretty good. My week's been okay. It's, the middle of the week, so we've survived this far. It's all downhill from here, right? And since it's the 18th of April in America, we've survived Tax Day. Hooray! Ugh. Also, I want to bring up just real quick, it's a local thing, but I have to bring it up because I live around here and it's my show. I want to say a big congratulations to everybody who made it through the Boston Marathon, which was this past Monday, for all of the runners who went out there and ran in what was probably the worst weather I have seen for a marathon in I don't know how long. You people are just amazing. Seriously. I don't run unless something's chasing me, and it better be something pretty damn big to actually be like, well, I'm going to go run, this many miles up and down hills, including something called Heartbreak Hill. I mean, doesn't that sound like fun? Ugh. And Monday was just the wettest day ever. It was just raining and raining and raining. And it was cold. It was just completely not the weather to go running in. So for everybody who went out there and undertook the Boston Marathon, kudos to you, very brave people, and to everybody who ran and was doing it for charities and stuff like that, extra special awesomes to you. You're very, very brave people, because I sure as shit can't do it. Normally I like to have fun on my show, obviously. I mean, I don't try and take it too seriously because I just, why so serious? But every once in a while something happens and you have to be serious and you have to be respectful, and that is what is going to take up the portion of my show that's not results and stuff. We lost someone very important to the world of professional wrestling today. Bruno Sammartino passed away. He was 82 years old. That is quite an achievement to make it to 82. He is, he has deserved and earned the title of the living legend. He has worked for many federations. Mostly his work is known for working with the WWF, back when it was the WWF, and even before it was the WWF, back when it was the WWWF, the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, which I know some people just went, what? Yes, guys, there was something even before. They changed the name and then changed the name again. Bruno was the longest running single reign in the promotion's history as their champion at 2,803 days. That's nuts. That's craziness. Bruno was the kind of wrestler that when you looked at him, he wasn't what most people think of when they think of a wrestler. Other than, he was built very well, but what I mean is he didn't have that kind of flamboyant personality that some people automatically think wrestler. If you said to Joe Average guy on the street who's not a wrestling fan, if you ask them, what does a wrestler look like? How would you describe a wrestler? They might say somebody like Hulk Hogan. They might say somebody like The Rock. They might say somebody like Ric Flair or Randy Savage or somebody like that. These larger-than-life people. And Bruno was from a different time. He definitely looked like someone that you would be like, yeah, I don't want to mess with that guy because he could really hurt me. But he was like an everyman. He had an everyman kind of, I'm a guy, I'm doing my job, I have a family at home, and I'm doing something really entertaining, but I'm not making it all look at me, look at me, look at me. I'm telling a story, but the story's important, not me. If you understand what I mean. And his style was very different than what we're used to now, obviously. It was more on the ground kind of stuff, more stuff on the mat and things like that. It wasn't a lot of high-flying things, because that just wasn't his deal. Everybody has their own way of doing things, and that was his. And it worked for him, obviously. And the fact that he was a very charismatic man. He just had this way of making you feel like when he spoke, you felt like he was speaking to you directly. You felt like he was somebody that you could sit down and have a drink with, and talk with, and not have them yell at you or be all aggressive and alpha male and stuff like that. When he was, obviously sometimes he would get, riled on camera and raise his voice, but a lot of times he was very soft spoken. He was very well spoken. And he was just this very special person. I became a wrestling fan, as I mentioned when I started doing this show. I became a wrestling fan in the mid-'80s, right before things went crazy with WrestleMania and all that. So by the time I started watching, he had already been retired for the most part, and he was doing color commentary work. And I had really no idea who he was. I figured out really quickly. I was like, oh, he must be a former wrestler, the way people defer to him and the way people talk about him and all this stuff like that. So me, being a little research McNerdly nerd, started trying to find out more about him and who he was and the things that he did and all this stuff like that. And, I found out all these things about him and his life and his background, how his family had fled from the Nazis because he lived, he grew up in Italy, and during the German occupation of Italy, when Italy was part of the Axis, his family they hid up in the mountains, and this was towards the end of the war, and that his mom would risk her life to, creep down into the village and get food and stuff for her family. When you think about it, holy shit, that's brave. She could have gotten shot or something, some insane thing like that. You're going to be sneaking around doing this Indiana Jones stuff when there's Nazis around? Holy crap. And a lot of things about Bruno that I think are really cool is he really kind of typified the American dream. And I don't mean Dusty Rhodes. He came to this country in 1950 and lived in Pittsburgh and became, he became a citizen here and worked really hard here in wrestling and other things, and, became a father and, was a husband and a father and this really well-respected figure in his, not only in his community, his local community, but in the wrestling community. And if you think about that, that's the thing that people always talk about when they talk about the American dream. Somebody who comes here from someplace else and maybe stuff was really bad where they were, or, not great. And then they come here and they work really hard, and they might not be successful that everybody knows their name or anything like that, but they make their way and they make a home in America and they make themselves into the person they want to be. And that's what he did. Bruno was very, 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 tack about 12 more varies on there, popular in this area, in the Boston area especially, because he was Italian and there is a large Italian community in the Boston area. And I think that had a lot to do with why people were, they were just enamored with him. They just thought he was, they thought he was amazing. I was lucky enough to see him at the Garden at the Boston Garden during a match between him and Roddy Piper. This was after a Piper's Pit that was held in Madison Square Garden, in the ring in Madison Square Garden, which was a rarity. They didn't always do that. And it got heated. It got real heated. Because Piper called Bruno a stupid... I'm not going to use the word because it's not a nice word and you shouldn't use it and it's bad. Think of the N-word, but the N-word for Italian people, and that's the word. You're not supposed to use that word. And if anybody on there is younger than like 15, don't use that word. It's a bad word. Actually, if you're under 15, you probably shouldn't be listening to this show anyway, because I swear a lot. But anyway, I remember seeing him at the Boston Garden in a match against Roddy Piper, and it was in a steel cage. And when he came out, the place went nuts. I mean, it went absolutely batshit insane, you know. And I mean, I'd been to wrestling shows up till that point, you know, and I'd seen people get excited and you know, be really thrilled to see people, but this was different. There was something about it, about the crowd and about the atmosphere that was different than when other people that showed up that got a big reaction. You know, people like, at the time, people like Hulk Hogan or Andre the Giant or Junkyard Dog or Ricky Steamboat, people like that who I saw have huge reactions at the Garden. You know, people loved to see them. With Bruno, it was different. It was like they were welcoming back a friend, somebody that they hadn't seen for a long time. And so it was all, yay, we're happy you're back. But it was also tinged with a lot of respect. And I remember thinking it felt different. It just had that feel, you know, about it that just felt, you know, just a slight bit more special, I suppose is the right word. Bruno would get in a couple of other feuds later on in his career. You know, this is a later point in his career, obviously. One of them being a really nasty feud with Macho Man Randy Savage. There was an incident on television where Savage, who had been in a match with Ricky Steamboat, took the ringside bell, which is obviously on a piece of wood, and proceeded to hit Steamboat in the throat with it. It looked pretty frickin' scary on TV, I got to be perfectly honest. And backstage, Steamboat was obviously injured, and Savage was bragging about injuring him, and Sammartino went off. I mean, he went off, grabbed Savage around the throat, called him an inhuman slime, which I was like, wow, I never actually heard that as an insult before. I have to write that down. It was a nasty fight. It was nasty. Obviously there's other, you know, fights that, feuds and things that Bruno's gone and had over the years between, you know, people like Ivan Koloff and superstar Billy Graham. I think probably the other feud that he's best known for was the one that ironically was between him and his protege, a young man named Larry Zbyszko. Zbyszko had been his protege and a face, and then he turned on Bruno and beat the living hell out of him with a chair, and that turned into an incredibly ugly feud. He was just one of those people that, he was special. You know, he was special. He is survived by his wife and his 3 children. One of his children, his name is David Sammartino. At one point, David wrestled for the WWF, and he was involved in the first WrestleMania against Brutus Beefcake. Bruno was in his corner and wound up tangling with Beefcake's manager, Luscious Johnny Valiant, who unfortunately also passed away this year. a lot of people, have been the accolades have been pouring out for Bruno. For the longest time, they kept asking him to be part of the WWE Hall of Fame, and he kept saying no. His relationship with the McMahon family and the WWEF, whichever, it wasn't going very well at one point, but things got better, obviously, because he did accept an invitation to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, and that was back in 2013, which was after several times where he had said no thanks. The ceremony took place on April 6th of 2013, and it took place at Madison Square Garden, and Bruno Sammartino was inducted into the Hall of Fame by Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, how friggin' cool is that? I mean, you get put in the Hall of Fame, that's obviously you've arrived and that's successful and great. But you get put in there by the Terminator? I mean, holy crap, that is awesome stuff. And in kind of an ironic, turn, I suppose, I don't know what other way to put it, Bruno was the person who inducted Larry Zbyszko into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2015. As I said, there was a reason they called Bruno the living legend. He just had this way of captivating the crowds. He wasn't a high flyer. He didn't get on the mic and yell and scream and swear and, chug beer or do any of that stuff. He was a person. He was a man, and he was a believable champion, obviously, for the amount of time that he held the belts. He will definitely be missed, and normally at this time when you're talking about someone and you're saying farewell, to them from this plane of existence, and you hope that wherever they are on whichever plane of existence follows this one, you hope that they are happy. It's traditional to say rest in peace, but I'm not going to say that. To Bruno Sammartino, I give this wish, sir, that you rest in power. You will definitely be missed, and thank you for all of the memories. Okay. As I said, I hope I didn't bring anybody down with all of my talk and stuff like that. I just felt like this was someone important to us as wrestling fans, and like I said, accolades have been pouring in everywhere from all over the world from all sorts of people. So I just figured I'd add my tiny, insignificant little voice to the fray and just get that out there. Positive vibes and all that. So, dealing with this week's wrestling shows that we had this week, Raw and Smackdown. Obviously, the big, huge thing that's not taking place in Saudi Arabia is the shakeup between Raw and Smackdown. We know that people are leaving Raw to go to Smackdown, and people are leaving Smackdown to go to Raw, and some people might be going to Cancun, and some people might be going to Venus, for all I know. I wouldn't mind going to Cancun right now. I'm sick and tired of it being cold. It's the middle of April, and it's in the 40s. I'm tired of it. Sorry. Didn't mean to whine all over the microphone. Sorry. Okay. So, Monday night, we begin in Hartford, Connecticut, which is a very nice place. And Kurt Angle comes out to the ring, Raw GM, and welcoming everybody to the Superstar shakeup because we don't do the draft anymore. So, we have the first person who is apparently been plucked, I suppose, from SmackDown to Raw, and that would be Sunil Singh. So instantly, my heart just dropped to somewhere about my right ankle. I'm like, oh crap. And he brings out Jinder Mahal, U.S. champion Jinder Mahal, to Raw. And my first thought is, are we being punished? Did we do something bad? I promise we'll never do it again. So after some back and forth in the ring with Sunil and Jinder demanding a lot of stuff, and Kurt just basically being like, screw you, And also telling Jinder, oh, by the way, you're defending the U.S. Title belt now. And it turns out he's defending it against the charismatic Enigma. I guess that's the best thing to call Jeff Hardy, because calling him the multicolored fuck-up is a little bit... It's rainbow fuck-up boy. No, that doesn't work. I'm just glad he doesn't look like he looked in TNA, where he looked like he was a zombie. I didn't get that whole thing. So anyway, we have Jeff Hardy versus Jinder Mahal for the United States belt. And after not all that long match, we get a Twist of Fate, Swanton, and 3 count, and we have the new United States champion, Jeff Hardy. So now we can all start the clock for how long it's going to take Jeff to get over to SmackDown. Sorry. We come back after commercial, and Jinder is complaining because this isn't what he wanted to happen to him on Raw. And then he starts complaining about the fact that if Kurt tries something like that again, he's gonna make things very unpleasant for Kurt. I'm like, yeah. Olympic gold medalist has beat pretty much everybody, and you. Good luck with that. We have the conga line of No Way Jose, and Jose telling Jinder that, everything's not so bad and cheer up and stuff like that. And he says that when he's feeling, like things are not going well, he wants to party, and he asks, fiesta, to be perfectly honest. And he asks Renee to join him in dancing, and she joins him because if a man that tall asks you to dance, you dance. And anyway, Jose seems like a pretty decent dude. The second match of the evening was Bayley against Sasha Banks, and apparently this friendship is just completely, fallen. I don't know if it's fallen apart or they're trying, like, it's kind of like maybe it's going to be one of these, maybe we'll get back together and be friends again after we have this, baptism by fire kind of a thing. The end of the match comes about when Sasha has Bayley in the Banks statement, and Bayley is attempting to reach the ropes, and the Riot Squad, what's left of the Riot Squad's the other team. The Riot Squad show up and attack Sasha, and Sasha is, she winds up winning the match because Bayley is disqualified because of the interference of the Riot Squad. After the match gets finished, the Riot Squad are still attacking Sasha, and she winds up with a face buster, and then the Logan and Morgan attack Bayley and hit her with the Riot kick, and fuck the both of yous. That's pretty much how I feel about it. After a commercial, Heath Slater says he and Rhino are ready for the Authors of Pain. Good for you. Good for you. Let's hear it for optimism. Yay. You guys be the little engine that could. And Rhino says that they're all set for a second chance. This is in regards to the tag team tournament and all that for the vacated Raw belts. So we have Heath Slater and Rhino going against the Authors of Pain, Akam and Rezar. And that goes pretty much how you think it's going to go, with Akam hitting the last, and then they wind up using the last chapter, and the winners of the match are Akam and Rezar. Is it Rezar or Rezar? Because I keep screwing this up, and I feel awful. I mean, I really feel like I should be able to say the man's name, but I keep screwing it up, and I feel really bad. I also feel really bad because he's really large and kind of intimidating looking, and I don't want to make somebody like that mad at me. So we come back after commercial, and we have Miz TV set up in the ring, and again, I'm going, are we being punished? After Miz does a little recap of what we saw earlier in the show, thanks a lot, Captain Obvious, he brings out 2 more people who have joined the Raw roster, and those people would be Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Okay. Now I know for sure. We are definitely being punished. I don't know what we did. I don't know what we did, but boy, I'm really sorry we did it. And Miz begins to, talk about how great it is to have all of these guys here, because this whole group of guys is apparently, according to Miz, better than the NWO. Okay. Which version? I have to ask that, because you had NWO Hollywood and NWO Red and Black, and I know I'm being a pain in the ass, but I don't care. Now, the part where I went, oh, fuck, no, you didn't go there, was Miz talking about the fact that the movie Avengers Infinity War is going to be coming out in the following week. Already got my tickets. But the people in the ring are the WWE's version of the Avengers. Pardon me, I have to go vomit blood. I'm sorry, what? No. I fuck the rest of the recap for a second. Fuck that noise. You five. You're comparing you five guys to the Avengers. Okay. Do not laugh hysterically into the mic. That's rude. Okay. Let's see. The Avengers. Iron Man. Very handsome. Thor. Ridiculously hot. Captain America. Stupid. Ridiculously hot. The Hulk. Hot if that's your thing, if you're into guys with anger issues, although Mark Ruffalo is really handsome. Black Widow. My legitimate girl crush. And then there's you five guys. Are you fucking serious? Are you fucking serious? Really? Really? Great Lakes Avengers maybe, but the actual Avengers? Fuck off. I'm sorry, I'm just... Okay, I just had to get that out of my system. This is what happens when you poke the comic nerd. We get mad. See there's a little mantra that goes around in our house, in our little happy corner of insanity. Don't poke the bear. Growl. The thing that also, cracked me up was, during, Mrs. Rant calling Paige a wannabe actor. Since that wannabe actor was your wannabe co-star in one of your wannabe movies, what does that make you, Einstein? It's... Thankfully, all of this back patting and dick sucking gets interrupted by Kurt Angle. Thank goodness. I never thought I'd be so happy to see Kurt Angle. Oh, that sounds odd. That sounds so odd. Of course, I think it's odd when he comes out and he's conducting the fans chanting, "You suck" at him like a conductor in an orchestra. And I'm going, okay. Reverse psychology much? I don't know. Kurt says that, this whole thing is not happening. Kevin and Sammy had their chance to fight to be on Raw last week, and they both got counted out during the match, so they don't have jobs here. Kevin says he got an email, and Sammy reads the email, and the email is apparently from Stephanie. Kurt decides to rub it in a little bit more, and Miz decides to rub it in Kurt's face a little bit more, and I'm like, you know what? That's probably not smart, but, considering your life choices and your fashion choices, Miz, not smart's kind of what you do, bro. Kurt brings up that he's kind of surprised that Stephanie, had the wherewithal to write a letter because he figured she'd be in physical therapy. Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised too, Kurt, considering that Ronda Rousey almost ripped her arm off again. I'm sorry, I was just thinking of that and went to my happy place for a minute. I'm back. But Kurt brings up the fact that, well, okay, so Kevin and Sammy are here, but you're not anymore, Miz. Miz is going to SmackDown. Miz is going to SmackDown, where a certain guy named Daniel Bryan can't wait to see him again. Pardon me while I do a chant from back when Daniel was with the Indies. You're gonna get your fucking head kicked in. Oh, I hope we couldn't be that lucky. Miz, proceeds to do what Miz does and throw a tantrum. And Miz, starts saying, okay, fine, they'll just make SmackDown, as popular as Raw is. And that he and the Miztourage will, just go to SmackDown and take over. No, sorry. Kurt tells Miz the news that Miz is going to SmackDown. Miz. Singular. Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas are staying right where they are, on Raw, without Miz to tell them what to do, or for Miz to hide behind anymore. But since Kurt is such a giving general manager, he's going to have a going away present for Miz. And unfortunately, it's not security toss him out of the building face first, because we can't have nice things. These 5 guys will be facing Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley, Braun Strowman, and another superstar who is making his Raw debut that evening. Kurt says they'll miss The Miz. But we hope that, we hope the tomatoes keep getting, bigger and our aim will get better. We don't know. We have Bray Wyatt showing up on screen, saying that they are here, they being Bray and Matt Hardy and his abnormally white teeth. So we've got the Insanity Buddies. I don't know what else to call them. I don't get it. So that brings us to the next match, which is Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy going against the Revival, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder, in the finals for the Tag Team Eliminator. And Sheamus and Cesaro have joined the announce table to find out who they're going to be facing in Saudi Arabia next week. To the surprise of absolutely nobody, it's Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. After the match is over, Sheamus and Cesaro do the whole stand on the table and glower, and Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt don't really seem to give a shit. They're just, In the back, we see Sheamus and Cesaro, and Sheamus brings up that they've never seen a weirder looking tag team than Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy, and I kind of have to agree with him. And you gotta figure, when a dude that has a mohawk like that says you look weird, it is what it is. Of course, has them meeting up with Tyler Breeze and Fandango. And it turns out that Fandango and Tyler are going to be heading to, Fandango says that they've been transferred to a new precinct, which is, I guess, their way of saying they've been sent to SmackDown, I guess. And they give, Sheamus and Cesaro are issued tickets. Well, yeah. I can, look, it's a free country, you be you dress how you want, and you dress how you feel, and you dress how you feel comfortable, and I'm fine with that. I mean, just because my wardrobe is mostly, black, it's because I think I look good in it. But, camo kilts? Where exactly does one get a camo kilt? More to the point, why does one get a camo? Never mind. Like I said, you be you. We have a recap of what happened to Stephanie last week, thanks to Ronda Rousey. Sorry. Happy place again. Sorry. I'm back. And Ronda and Kurt are in Kurt's office talking about what happened. And Kurt telling Ronda that, you know, things might be a little different if things work out. You know, she could wind up going to SmackDown or whatever. But Kurt says he has a surprise for Ronda, and the surprise turns out to be Natalya. Natalya is apparently now on Raw. Okay, that's fine. You know, great. They seem like to know each other. I was like, okay, so they're buddies, I guess. And, all right, you know, whatever. She's still got the outfit, but, you know, I tease about Natalya's outfits and stuff. It's not that they look bad. They don't look bad. They're actually pretty cool outfits, but she does look like she's auditioning for Power Rangers as a bad guy. You know, it's like, if you want to dress like a Sentai villain, fine. You know, you be you. But the cat ears, I'm just afraid one of these days she's going to come to the ring with the cat ears and a tail. I mean, that's just going to be, that's just showing she's completely gone. We see Nia Jax, Raw Women's Champion, suck it Alexa Bliss, come out to the announce table, and as it turns out, Alexa was supposed to be on commentary, but since Nia's out there, Alexa's nowhere around. And Alexa's best friend, if Alexa can have a best friend, Mickie James going against Ember Moon is the next match. And the winner is Ember Moon after the Eclipse. We cut to the back to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, talking about, you know, that things on Raw aren't starting off the way they wanted them to. And Miz keeps trying to make the whole thing about him, you know, which is what he does. That's his whole thing. It needs, you know, everything needs to be about him, even though he's leaving. After commercial, Dolph Ziggler comes out to the ring, and he says he's back on Raw, and he winds up being interrupted by Titus O'Neil, who comes out along with Apollo Crews, who apparently found his name, because he was just Apollo for a while, but now he's Apollo Crews again, and Dana Brooke. Titus is very cordial to Dolph and asks Dolph if he wants to join up with Titus Worldwide. Dolph says that he didn't come back to Raw by himself, and it turns out that he didn't, as he is joined in the ring by Drew McIntyre, and the two of them beat the hell out of Titus and Apollo. Rude. After commercial, Roman Reigns comes out and goes down to the ring, starts talking about how he's going to, you know, have this fight in Saudi Arabia with Brock, and gets interrupted by Samoa Joe. Again. Who starts running his fucking mouth about what he's gonna do to Roman, and blah, blah, fucking blah. If you're gonna do it, get down there and do it, dude. Which is pretty much what Roman says. It's like, if you want to, you know, he basically, and I quote, "your lazy fat ass," end quote. And Joe goes down to the ring and then walks back up the ramp and goes back, then throws his towel down. Ooh, scary. Goes to the ring and says that he'll fight Roman when he wants to at Backlash. Yeah, right. Fuck off. I'm sorry. I don't like the way they're writing for Joe right now. I don't. This is not the Samoa Joe that deserved the Joe's gonna kill you chance and things like that. I don't like it. I don't. The match after commercial is Mandy Rose with Sonya Deville going against Natalya, with the winner of the match being Natalya. After the match is done, Sonya gets in the ring and starts attacking Natalya, which brings out Ronda Rousey. And Mandy and Sonya get out of the ring, and while Ronda is checking Natalya to make sure she's not badly injured, Sonya apparently decides to take leave of every sense in her head and gets in the ring and says that she wants to fight Ronda. I'm not entirely sure when I started smiling like the Joker. I do know when I started laughing like the Joker, and that was when Ronda just completely beat the living crap out of Sonya and almost tore her head off at one point. Oh, I could watch Ronda do that all day long. I mean, I'd much rather watch her do it to Stephanie, but I'd actually much rather watch her do it to Triple H, because then I'd just laugh till I choked, probably. The newest member of the Raw roster is announced, and that would be the Lone Wolf, Baron Corbin. So, next up is, Tyler Breeze and Fandango came to Raw. I'm sorry, I screwed that up earlier. I don't know why I did that. And so we have Tyler Breeze and Fandango going against Sheamus and Cesaro, and they won, which, I'm sorry, that sounds like I'm surprised. I am. I mean, it's not that Tyler Breeze and Fandango aren't both excellent athletes, because they are. I just, that kind of tripped me out. I have to be honest, that one kind of freaked me out a little bit, because they've been writing the bar as being pretty unstoppable, and then they lose to Tyler Breeze and Fandango. Okay. All right, In the back, Renee Young is in the back speaking with Elias. And Elias says that the fans don't, deserve him to, they don't deserve to hear him play and all this stuff like that, and, blames Bobby Lashley for it. And then starts talking to Renee, talking about Renee. He asks Renee if Renee wants a private concert, which Renee tells him that we don't have time for, and has, it does the whole back to you, Michael. Considering the fact that Renee gets to go home to Dean Ambrose, any kind of performance you have, dude, it's going to be subpar. Just saying. The main event of the evening is The Miz, Curtis Axel, Bo Dallas, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens going against Bobby Lashley, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Braun Strowman, and the newest addition to the Raw roster, the glorious one, Bobby Roode. Kick ass. Okay. Have to say this. I know I've said it before, and I'm going to keep saying it because it's my show. Finn Balor, loving the blue outfit, loving it. It's a good match, a lot of back and forth all over the place, but the part that was the most interesting was all the way at the end, because, it's the end of the match. We had Miz with two running drop kicks in the corner, and to Braun Strowman, and Strowman basically says, "All right, that's enough of that," and does a drop kick himself, which is disturbing. Seeing a man that size do a drop kick, I mean, it's awesome, but it's also like, holy shit, how agile is this guy? The thing is, Miz tries to tag in Curtis Axel, and Curtis says, "No, I don't think so," and gets off the ring apron and goes to the floor. And when Miz tries to get a tag from Bo Dallas, Bo does the same thing. After a mini tantrum, Miz realizes he's in the ring with the monster among men, and turns around and gets a splash from Strowman, which leads into a running power slam, which leads to a 3 count. So the winners being Bobby Roode, Bobby Lashley, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and Braun Strowman. And that was the end of Raw for the evening. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see Miz, carried out of the building by security while the crowd, chanted, sang the na-na, hey, hey, goodbye song. Again, see, we can't have nice things. So that brings us to the following evening, Tuesday night for SmackDown Live, which was coming from the great and beautiful city of Providence, Rhode Island. Great place. Been there quite a few times. Awesome place. And we have AJ Styles making his way to the ring. And AJ talks about, the fact that this whole mess that's going on between him and Nakamura. He calls Nakamura a con artist and a coward. And, he's not exactly wrong. I mean, just saying. AJ brings up the match that he had with Daniel Bryan, that he wanted to have this match because he knew it was going to be an amazing match between the two of them. And, Nakamura showed up again and punched him in the dick again. So he refers to Nakamura as a two-faced coward and to show up and actually get in the ring and face AJ face to face. Which, for some reason that, again, are we being punished? Aiden English comes out instead of Nakamura, and he appears on the stage with Rusev behind him. And so this whole, Rusev Day thing starts again. And AJ says, so it's Rusev Day and Nakamura doesn't have a spine, so why don't, Rusev and I fight right now? So we have Rusev going against AJ Styles. This is a non-title match. It's, it's a great match between two really great athletes who have, very different styles. Rusev's more of a, ground and pound type, and AJ can do the high flying stuff, but is a little less, just straight fist in the face. The match winds up going to AJ by disqualification because Aiden English can't keep his fucking nose out of the, other people's business and attacks AJ, which brings down Daniel Bryan, who goes after Rusev and sends Rusev over the top rope, and while AJ's taking care of Aiden English. We're in the back in Shane McMahon's office, and he's speaking with Paige. She decides that they're going to have a tag team match that evening with Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles going against Rusev and Aiden English. Oh my gosh. And Paige telling Shane that, things are going to be really great because of all the changes that she's made and all the people she's brought over from Raw to SmackDown. And after commercial, we have Shelton Benjamin in the ring. And he talks about a tweet that was put up last night on his Twitter where he said that, he said some very nice things about Chad Gable, and that then he says his Twitter account had been hacked, that he does not need nor ever needed Chad Gable, and that it's all about him and he wants some competition, blah, blah, blah. So that brings out the Viper, Randy Orton. And, of course, Randy Orton going against Shelton Benjamin is going to be a really cool match, except for the fact that it doesn't happen, because after Randy comes out and is about halfway down to the ring, he kind of stops and turns, looks toward the back, because there's other music starting up that sounds awfully damn familiar. And golly gee whiz, shucky darn, look who it is. It's the new United States champion, I'll get it right in a minute, Jeff Hardy, fresh off of Raw, now on SmackDown, taking on Shelton Benjamin in a non-title match. There's a stunner. Not the non-title match part, but the fact that the U.S. belt is now back on SmackDown again. And, I mean, granted, it's being held by a person who's a lot more attractive, so I'm, completely fine with that. We have a video of Miz talking about Daniel Bryan, who had put up a tweet about how he's waiting to punch Miz in the face. Yeah, you and about 9 bajillion other people, but Daniel, you should really totally be at the front of the line, and the rest of us can all take pictures. As it turns out, though, Miz isn't there because apparently he packed his balls in another suitcase. He says he's in LA with his wife and child, that he will be premiering on SmackDown next week, and that if it makes a warning to Daniel that if he trolls him on Twitter, he's going to kick Daniel's, he goes to say ass, but Maurice keeps him from swearing because of their newborn, their new daughter, who's a very cute child. I have to say, for the real person behind the character of The Miz and the real person behind the character of Maurice have a very beautiful little girl. It's just going to be really sucky when the little girl is older and everyone goes, when, she's going to school and everybody's saying your parents both suck. Not at being parents. I'm sure they're great parents, but you know what I mean. Kids can be cruel. So we come back after commercial, and as it turns out, we have more people coming to SmackDown. Then that would include Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, and I am being punished. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is not directed at them people-wise. This is their characters. I have, that's what it is. I'm just having fun. It's just that Mandy Rose... Never mind. No, I'm not doing it. I could be like, I don't like Mandy Rose because Corey Graves likes her, and good God, Corey Graves annoys me. I'm sorry. I know that's his job. But sweet God in heaven, Corey Graves annoys me. But, Mandy Rose is one of those, blonde, beautiful people that sometimes other people just want to see stomped on. People like me. Because people like me have a very dark side. And it doesn't just have cookies. Anyway, moving on, we are on to the next match with Jey Uso with Jimmy Uso in his corner, going against Luke Harper with Eric Rowan in his corner. This is not attractive. I shouldn't say it that way because the Usos are very attractive. But this wasn't a match. This was a mugging. Wow. The winner is Luke Harper after a clothesline. Once the match is done, the Rowan and Harper pull Jay out of the ring, but Jimmy Uso realizes, oh wait, they have these big weapons out here lying around, and he grabs one of their hammers and hits them with it. Wow! Somebody actually decided to, let's go, let's, cheer for taking the initiative. Hooray! Jimmy winds up getting thrown into the ring steps, and Jay is crashed into the apron. Rowan gets the mallet, and out comes Naomi to beg for her husband's life. You gotta... That's a very small wedding clause they don't tell you about. It's love, honor, and cherish, and defend your husband when he's being, threatened by hammer-wielding psychopaths. It's a very small clause. You have to look for it, but it is there. Harper and Rowan do not attack Naomi, because that would be bad, obviously. That would be very bad. And WWE doesn't do things like that anymore because shareholders. And so Harper and Rowan just head off to the back. Because they did kick the living hell out of the Usos and, establish that they're heels even more than they did before. So, match number 4 on the show is Sin Cara versus Samoa Joe. Well, I'm not knocking Sin Cara. He's a great athlete. No argument there. But he's going against Samoa Joe. What do you think's going to happen? Coquina clutch, tap out, Samoa Joe wins. Joe gets on the mic and starts saying how SmackDown isn't the land of opportunity, that it's the land of handouts. That because, then that's because he wasn't there. Everybody else had it easy. Blah, blah, whatever. Yeah. I really hope Roman kicks your ass. We find out that after commercial, we're told that a new team is coming to SmackDown, the team of Sanity, who are coming up from NXT. And, you know how sometimes you see somebody who has a really big, mean, scary-looking dog, and you say, hey, that's a big, mean, scary-looking dog. What's your dog's name? And they say Fluffy. That's what I mean about these guys. You know, Sanity, these guys look about as sane as me. Although I can look sane when I want to. I just don't want to most of the time. Daniel Bryan is interviewed by Renee Young about, you know, why did he come and help AJ? And Daniel says that he did it out of respect. He respects AJ. And that's, you know, understandable. They're both great athletes. And, you know, he was absent from wrestling for 3 years because of the medical issues that he was dealing with. And while he was out, he made a list of people that he wanted to wrestle when he got back because he felt like they would, you know, be great matches. And one of those people was AJ. The thing is, he wanted to go out there and prove that, you know, he didn't have any ring rust, he could still go. And Nakamura fucked that all up. And he brings up the fact that he was happy to fight with AJ, you know, side by side and be his partner in the upcoming match because he wants to fight AJ, you know, where they're on opposite sides of the ring, and he wants to do that again. As Renee starts talking with with Daniel, but she stops and she's looking at somebody who's obviously standing behind Daniel that the crowd at first can't see. And so Daniel turns around and is face to chest with the returning Big Cass. And he, you know, we get the whole, you know, I'm a big dude, so you're a little dude and I don't respect you kind of thing. And that's depressing. I wanted Cass to come back and be a face simply because I like him. You know, I just like him. He seems like a decent dude. So, we have Carmella celebrating in the ring that, she is, you know, the new, SmackDown Tag Team Champion. I'm not. You know, I'm not. I'm just not. So anyway, after sitting there and patting herself on the back in that ultra annoying way that she does, she is interrupted by Charlotte Flair, who tells the truth that the only reason that she cashed in her Money in the Bank match was because Charlotte had been beaten up by Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, and basically tells her that, you know, enjoy what you have because you ain't having it too long. Which brings out Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, and they proceed to act like a couple of common-ass bitches. You know, because truth in advertising. Charlotte, needless to say, listens to their drivel long enough and goes at the both of them. They start attacking her, and Becky Lynch comes out and goes after the two of them, which leads to a match with Charlotte with Becky Lynch in her corner going against Billie Kay with Peyton Royce in hers. And when it comes down to actually having brass tacks, Billie winds up tapping out to the figure 8 leg lock. Bitch. And the winner of the match being Charlotte Flair. After the match is over, Carmella shows just exactly what kind of classy world champion she's going to be by attacking Charlotte. And when Becky tries to help out Peyton and Billie stop her from helping, which brings out somebody else. Asuka. Asuka is now on SmackDown. Carmella, sweetie, I have one word for you. Run. Becky, Charlotte, and Asuka beat the living hell out of Billie Kay, and Gosh darn it, if that Joker laugh didn't start up again, boy, I have such a funny sense of humor. Another team has joined the SmackDown tag team roster, and that would be the team of Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. So I guess all the nerds should be running and hiding. Oh no, wait, that's me. I forgot, I'm a nerd. And I'm proud of it, and a geek, and I don't care. And we have Sheamus and Cesaro saying that they were the standard for Raw, and that, they ended the tag team reign of the New Day. They, dealt with the Hardys, and now they're coming to SmackDown. And the New Day are less than, they don't seem to be very worried. As it turns out, someone else is on SmackDown now, and that would be R-Truth. Okay. And so has Ty Dillinger. And he and Big E have this male bonding greeting thing that they do. I don't get men. I don't. I'm sorry. R-Truth is excited to be there because he's excited that they're all together now on Raw. And, oh dear. Xavier Woods lets Truth know that they're on SmackDown. And Truth says, oh, my bad. And he says that he'll see them tomorrow. And, what? Okay. We find out that Andrade Almas is coming to SmackDown, with his manager, Zelina Vega. And Almas does, cuts a promo in Spanish about coming to SmackDown. Yippee. Yeah, great. Somebody else doing the whole negative, stereotype Spanish routine, because we didn't get enough of that with Alberto Del Rio, I guess. I don't know. Main event time with AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan going against Aiden English and Rusev, which ends with, which is, first of all, is a great match up till that point, until Nakamura shows up through the crowd. Thanks for, keeping him from getting to the ring crowd. And Nakamura climbs up on the apron and low blows AJ Styles, who was standing on the apron waiting to tag in. And Daniel Bryan sees Nakamura and winds up, takes his attention off of his opponents, and Big Cass gets in the ring, and the referee has the bell rung, as Daniel has his bell rung. So the winners of the match are AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan, who win by DQ, although they don't look like winners because, AJ just got his dong rung, and Daniel Bryan just got his bell rung. With Big Cass in the ring holding his fist up in the air like, ooh, I'm a big tough guy because I beat up someone that wasn't expecting me to be in the ring. Renee tries to ask Nakamura, what the hell is your issue, dude? And Nakamura does the doesn't speak English thing again. The whole sorry, don't speak English thing is A, rude, B, kind of racist, and C, stupid, because we know he speaks English. This is kind of insulting on so many levels. Knock it off, guys. Really don't like it. Of course, I'd like to know what the hell Nakamura's obsession with AJ Styles' dick is. I mean, seriously, is there something you want to share with the rest of the class, Shinsuke? Just saying. Don't ask, don't tell, I guess. I don't know. So, let's go over who went where and, so on and so forth. So, The Miz has gone to SmackDown. Jeff Hardy has gone to SmackDown. Sonya Deville has gone to SmackDown. Mandy Rose, SmackDown. Samoa Joe, SmackDown. Sanity, the tag team made up of Eric Young, Alexander Wolf, and Killian Dane, is going to SmackDown from NXT. Big Cass is going to SmackDown since he was originally on Raw before he was injured. Asuka is on SmackDown. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson have moved to SmackDown. Cesaro and Sheamus are now on SmackDown. And Andrade Almas and Zelina Vega are going to be on Raw from NXT, and R-Truth is now on SmackDown. Going from SmackDown to Raw, we have Jinder Mahal with Sunil Singh on Raw now. The Riot Squad, which is Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan, are on Raw. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn have gone to Raw. Zack Ryder announced on his Twitter account that he is now on Raw. Breezango, Styler Breeze and Fandango have gone to Raw. Natalya is now on Raw. Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre are on Raw. Drew McIntyre coming up from NXT. The Ascension, who have announced that they are going to be on Raw from the WWE Instagram. Mojo Rawley is on Raw now, which was announced on the WWE's YouTube channel. Baron Corbin has come to Raw. Bobby Roode is on Raw. And Mike Kanellis has moved to Raw, which we get from the WWE's Twitter account. And Chad Gable is now on Raw, which we already knew from SmackDown anyway, which has been announced by the WWE's YouTube channel. So that's the shakeup. So obviously, the next big thing is going to be the pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia in 2 weeks' time. So they're going to be hyping the hell out of that now. And that should be an interesting pay-per-view, I suppose. It's another country, so you're getting another people's reaction to superstars and what they do and how they do it. So that's going to be really entertaining. I hope you enjoyed my show this week, and I hope you will listen to the other shows that I'm involved with and are part of our little family of podcasts and such. I have another solo show, which is called Platinum Rose's Garden, which is my look at the CW series Supernatural. I do an episode recap and talk about the show, and if you're a fan of Supernatural or you know someone who is, you can point them toward my show over at PlatinumRosesGarden.com. And there are the other shows that I am involved with my dear, sweet, long-suffering husband, TC. Those would include Subject Cinema, which is our movie podcast, and Front Row 5 and 10, which is our list show. They're both really fun and enjoyable, and I hope you'll check them out. TC has a long solo show and 2 mini solo shows as well. His long show is Catastrophe Vortex. He is a disaster movie junkie, so he knows about all the movies that are out there about stuff that goes bang, boom, crash, kaboom. And he has 2 smaller shows, including Tuesday Digidex and 3-Day Weekend, which are shows that are talking about what is coming out in movie theaters, on demand, on DVD, so you know where to spend your money and find cool stuff to watch. There are other parts of our little family as well, including Eric and Valerie Lyon, the Lyon family, over at Cavebabble.com. They're really cool people. And I hope you will check out Aunt Bee and Pee Wee over at Comic Grotto. And if you are so inclined, you would like to look up our dramatic reading. We have a project that all of us were involved with. It's called Manhattan Hammerdown. It is a production celebrating the 10-year anniversary of the release of the film Cloverfield. It's an audio play looking at other things that were going on in New York the night that the monster that is called Clover made its way onto land. So it was a real big labor of love, and I hope everybody will go and check that out. You can look it up on Google. You can just put in Manhattan Hammerdown, and that'll take you right to it. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can do so over there as well. I'm on Twitter all the time, over at PlatinumRoseLady at Twitter.com. And if you'd like to send me any comments, queries, questions, complaints, Roman Reigns' phone number, whatever, just thought I'd slip that in to see if you're still paying attention. You can send that to PlatinumRoseL at Yahoo.com. Put Ring Around the Rosie in the header, and I will know that you would like me to read it on my show, which I will totally do if you send me any email. So, this is Kim Brown signing off for another week here on Ring Around the Rosie. I hope everybody has a great rest of their week. We're almost to Friday, folks, so just hang in there a little while longer. See you later.
podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.